friends, my name is Emily, I'm the bi, and here is a book off of my bookshelf. So I'm here with my friend Patches. We decided to buddy read Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. This was my first Leigh Bardugo.
Well, I thought it was her first, but it's not.
It's her first adult book. She's very popular in the booktube / young adult world. She mostly does young adult. She has a couple of series, the Gracious Trilogy, and then the Six of Crows duology.
That one I have seen on Goodreads.
Yeah.
That one, yeah.
And then I think she wrote a Wonder Woman adaptation, like young adult adaptation, that I kind of want to read now.
I love that. And you got yours through Book of the Month.
I did.
Yeah.
Yes. That was one of the things that we talked about when we decided to buddy read it. We were both like, well, we both bought Ninth House, so
and it's been large and I haven't touched it yet, so
let's read it together.
Let's read it together.
We did that during the month of January, and we also buddy read it with one of your friends, Michaela.
Yes, Michaela. Yeah. I was home for Christmas and she was like, same thing. She's like, I have this book that's been lying around that I need to read. It's called Ninth House, and I was like, perfect. You know what?
I have a thought.
Let's do this.
Yeah. So this was like one of those weird things where I saw everybody freaking out that this book was coming out on like book Twitter, and not so much on booktube until after it came out, but book Twitter for sure. And even some of my friends, and I was like, who is this?
Yeah.
What is this? I don't understand why everyone's so hyped. Confused. And then I realized kind of over a little bit of time the background of the excitement.
Yeah.
So this book is about a girl named Alex who goes to Yale, where there are 8 secret societies who do magic and try to pierce the veil. They're the houses of the veil. And she is in the Ninth House, called Leigh, who are basically the people who keep the other houses in control and like in line.
In check.
Yeah.
Keep them in check.
And so she can see ghosts, hence my Ghouls Night Out shirt.
Amazing.
And it's like a little fantasy secret society, very adult.
I'm super excited though to talk about this because you didn't rate it on Goodreads. You just said that you had read it.
Oh yeah, that's true. I need to read it.
I was like, what is she trying to say? What is happening? This is cool.
I honestly think I just forgot to read it, but we can definitely talk about it. It took me a while to get into this book. I started reading it either on Christmas or the day after Christmas in prep, because I finally finished The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt.
Mine's over there. It's a paperweight at this point.
Oh my god, I can't wait until you read it though.
I'm excited.
And then we can watch the movie and
cry together.
Cry.
Yes.
I'm gonna make a video about because I love the film and nobody else does except for Megan. And I'm just like,
good.
okay.
Well then what else do you need?
I mean, true.
Maybe me. We'll see.
I'll just cry about Theo and Boris. It's fine. So after I finished that, I started Ninth House. I was at my mom's in Arizona and I was like, okay, so I read like the first chapter or 2 or something, and I was like, all right. Cool.
Yeah.
And then I literally finished it on the 30th of January. So it took me the whole of the month plus a couple of days. You finished it very quickly.
Pretty quick, yeah. I don't remember when exactly, but it was definitely this month. I just kind of blew through it at work because not a lot was happening at work.
Yeah, I think halfway through the month you texted me and you were like, okay, I think I'm done. And I'm like, okay. I definitely need until the end of the month, but thank you. Cool.
Yes, it was a pretty fast read once I got into it.
I agree.
Yeah.
So it took me, I think, a little while to decide if I was vibing with it. And then when I decided I was like, okay,
Can't put this down.
let's go.
This is the rest of the month now.
Yeah, it did just, take half the month to... It was a mixture of like not actually vibing with it and actually like sitting down and trying to read it.
Yeah, I found it was just it took me like 100 pages in at least, and this is like a 450 or something like that?
Yeah, 450 with the notes.
It took me until like page 100 to really understand her writing and to really get into it. Yeah, it was like, I like it, I want to finish it, not just because of what we're doing, but just like, I feel like something's here. I feel like I need to like get into it and finish it. I really liked it. I thought it was fascinating.
Yeah, bitch writes long chapters.
Yeah, I saw your tweets about that, or I saw your text, and I was like, really? Like, does that bother you, the long chapters?
It just like makes it. I always found this about Harry Potter too, because bitch likes the long chapter in Harry Potter, and like. It makes it hard for me to read a couple of chapters at a time.
Yeah.
It's harder for me to piecemeal together reading because I don't want to stop in the middle of a chapter.
You can't like chunk it out.
Yeah, it's harder to chunk out. And I realized that I was like, Well, I'm a bitch who writes long chapters, I guess, when I was writing my Nano book, but I'm cutting it up now, so I will not be a bitch who writes long chapters.
There you go.
Also, I watched a bunch of reviews on this book from booktubers that I really like Read with Cindy, or they read it for PatchesPaperCut book club 1 month. So
they didn't really like it, did they?
No, I don't think almost anybody liked it.
Interesting.
I think Emma Reads Books really liked it. She mentioned it in her favorite books of 2019, and I was like, oh, okay. And then like Read with Cindy, like Cindy didn't like it, and Kat.
Yeah, Kat didn't like it.
Kat hated it. And
it's so funny.
It's so funny to me. One of the things, there's lots of, I think, valid criticisms of this book. A lot of people have mentioned like the race thing, that like her race only kind of gets brought up when she's about to do something shitty or like whatever, which, you know, not a good look.
Not a good look.
Not a good look. There's also like that very explicit rape scene when like they're doing like a flashback when she was a kid.
Yeah.
That just like, whoa, comes out of fucking nowhere.
Yeah, it really did, but honestly, like, yeah, I mean, it was disturbing to read it. I'm so glad Michaela was like ahead of us and texted us and warned us. She was like,
oh,
by
shit.
the way, at about chapter 7 or 8, just be warned. And I was like, thank you, because it would have been rough, but I think like ultimately that made more sense as to why she was so cautious and like freaked out about, you know, them possibly coming into her, I guess, realm is the right word to it, but he was like, they can't touch you, and she was like,
well, I beg to differ. But everybody also complained about the time thing, going back and forth in time.
Oh, the seasons?
Yeah, which, why are you guys complaining? This makes perfect sense to me.
It was, for a moment there, I was like, what season are we in? Like, I would have to go back and like look, I was like, okay, this is spring. And then go back. I thought that was fine. I liked how it started with her like in pain, and it said like a bite mark out of her side, and I'm like, wow, okay. But then that doesn't come up until like the end.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay.
Back.
I thought that was fine, yeah.
Yeah, it worked really, like, I was reading it knowing that this was a criticism of it, and I was like, have y'all never seen an out-of-sequence movie, or like...
Okay, so wait, question though, personal question. Do you like watching YouTubers talk about the books before you read them?
It depends on the book. If it's a book that I'm not like stoked about or like I'm ambivalent towards, then I'm like, yeah, tell me, I don't care. But like if it's a book I'm really excited about, then like I'll keep that shit to I'm like, well, I'm gonna read it really soon anyway, so I'll just read it and then I'll watch kind of and see what they think.
Yeah.
But especially for books that like I'm really, really excited for, I don't like having any kind of preconceived thing going into it.
That's what messes me up. Because if I had heard Kat talk about that, and if I heard people complain, it's like my mind would start seeing that and like being upset with the seasons and the scenes and everything like that. So I can't watch it.
I think the back and forth worked for me. A lot of people were like, I think it would have just worked better in sequence, and I think it would work fine in sequence. I don't think that it necessarily needs to be an out of sequence story, but it doesn't, to me, detract from the storytelling. And in fact, I think there are certain instances where like Darlington, like being cut in with Darlington is just like really helpful. And I think if he had just been only at the beginning, even though I really love that character, which I think is a big reason why I started getting into the book, is that I realized I really liked Darlington's chapters.
And you wanted to figure out like where
I was like, what happened to him exactly. And then like I started slowly liking Alex a lot. But I think if all of the Darlington stuff had been at the top, I think it would have maybe fucked with the pacing of like caring about where Darlington is.
Yeah, that's
and, like
true.
the urgency of where is Darlington.
Because it was like building up like your appreciation for him as well. Like kind of like Alex had. Like she loved Darlington, and she was like, where is he? And so after a while when like he was absent, you as the reader was kind of like, I gotta find out where this guy is too. Also, like, I'm so glad I tabbed this. And like this is one of the few, but I'm having to go, like while you're speaking, I'm having to go like look and remember some, because some of the like dialogue and some of the things were written really well. This is one of the first books though that I have tagged like this, because I just thought some sections were like, I mean, they were really well.
Fuck that.
This one says just fuck that.
Fuck that. Is this the rape scene?
No, I don't remember what this is. I'm glad, see, this is why I'm glad I did this. Oh, her friend Megan was telling people at school about the incident.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, fuck that.
Friend.
But no, this was a really good read, and I really appreciate I also, just like, he kind of sucked, but I loved him, the cop that was helping.
Yeah, he was an interesting character.
He was an interesting character,
sure.
and like at the end of it, you kind of like, he finally understood that like Alex just wasn't this like full of shit student, and like I think she had even said to him, "I want you to believe in magic," and I was like, oh my god, I love that line. Like, this is good. Yeah, I really like this. What are some of the other criticisms? Because I don't think I've even watched them, because they probably would have altered the way I.
Those were the like 3 really big ones. I think in general, people like all of the other criticisms kind of come out of one of those couple of things. So then it's just like kind of people being nitpicky about the things they like or don't like in stories. So it's like, you know, whatever.
Because wouldn't her DNA be all over the place? I don't remember what I was writing that about. What the hell?
Oh my god, I'm so sorry.
I thought you were Tom Brady.
Oh, this is when she breaks into the crime scene.
And the guy attacks her?
Yeah, but like she's just like touching shit all willy-nilly.
Yeah.
And she's just like, and like her blood and stuff is everywhere.
But yeah, I really liked it.
Yeah, I really liked it. I'm excited about the second one.
I was about to say, there's another one coming.
I'm interested to see, I didn't look anything up about it, so I don't know if it's going to be a duology or a trilogy. My assumption is a duology. I assume they'll go find Darlington in the second one, and then that will kind of conclude Alex's story.
Who wants to go to hell? I was like,
Who wants to go to hell? I also just like, the idea of a gentleman demon is just like, it for me. I'm like, wow, love that for me.
The author was born in Jerusalem, which is cool.
That's interesting.
Yeah, she graduated from Yale, which is cool.
That makes sense in terms of like why she would pick Yale specifically.
Oh, also, I work at UCLA, and there are parts in this book talking about like Royce Hall and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, I know where that is. I know where.
Yeah, because Alex is from LA, so like that stuff was always really interesting too. And like I think for the little bit that like you are in LA with Alex, like it actually feels very like true to an extent. So that's kind of nice. I think my one really big kind of like plot story thing is that while I think all of the action scenes are particularly well written and like interesting and dynamic, I do think that it's always funny to me when villains are like, I'm gonna stop monologuing at you even though I've been monologuing for 4 pages.
You're talking about the end there?
Yeah, I was like, okay.
Okay, thanks.
So like the twist I think is interesting. Oh, also the thing that they're called, wheel walkers? Bad. Dumb name. Hate that. Absolutely hate that. They said it for the first time and I sent Megan a snap and was like, bad. It's bad.
This sounds like a really bad version of like Wendigo, which works. Yeah. But wheel walkers don't.
Wheel walker, not so much. Yeah, so I think that there are parts of that like final big fight that work really well. And like the twist is kind of interesting, and like North is a really interesting character too, the bridegroom. And yeah, I don't know.
I just kept picturing Harry Potter for some reason when I was
like Nearly Headless Nick?
Yeah, like it was like one of those things where I was like,
I don't know what I was imagining. I imagined he was hot though. Don't know why.
But I was intrigued by North's story too.
Yeah.
North's story as well. And like the twist though for me was kind of confusing. I think that was part of the book where I was like so close to finishing it. I was kind of like speeding through it to an extent. I almost expected it, like I forget for a second that this is technically fantasy, and I expected it just to be more of like a plain like, oh, this is what happened, but it wasn't. It was very hectic. I don't know. Like I still liked it, but it was just kind of like, this isn't what I was expecting, which is a good thing, I guess. But
it's also, I do think she kind of yadas past like the creation of like how Daisy is able to like do the things and like but she's kind of like we'll continue. Yes. It is interesting though. I like that we have an answer for why the like crypts exist, like why the magic, the streams of magic exist.
Yeah.
Which is kind of interesting in that like, well, you could always make more, and like people trying to make more, but like, you know.
I mean, I thought it was a really cool world, and it's a cool world too because it's at a place we know that exists. It's societies that are rumored to exist, and like the talk about like Jodie Foster being in this, that's true. Like all that is 100% true. Like these people, Anderson Cooper, they were all in these societies. And actually I spoke to one of my coworkers, and he was like very hushed tone, like UCLA has one of those allegedly, and I was like, that's fascinating. I think cults, quote unquote cult, but like stuff like that's always fascinating to me. Especially when it's like, oh, the magic they're doing is real. Like I think it's fascinating. Like I really don't read a lot of fantasy. I really just read a lot of like murder mystery stuff. So a little bit of both for me. I really did enjoy it. I mean, for someone who doesn't read fantasy though, I think I should asterisk that. Like I don't typically read stuff like this, so I did enjoy this, and I don't know if that's saying something or not.
Well, I think it's definitely because I know you're not really like a Game of Thrones, like high fantasy kind of person, but I think urban fantasy is definitely like within your wheelhouse.
Yeah.
You know, I'm glad that this was a book that could show you that.
This was good.
Because I think this is a good, like, urban fantasy.
Yeah. It is, I mean, it is a rough read. It took me, I found, too, that, like, when I started it, I think I texted you guys this, I had to be in silence to, like, read it, because, like, some parts I would have to go back and read, and, like, I needed to be so focused and in a place, like, as quiet as this, like, in my room, and just, like, reading. Like, if there's any distractions, I would have to go back, because I really appreciated her writing of, like, and her way of, like, referencing characters that we haven't even met by just, like, throwing out their names, like, oh, like, this person used to be like this, and you're like, do we know them? No, I don't think so. I think she's just talking. Okay, got it. Like, you just keep it, like, just push through it, honestly. Like, I think it's worth it, and I think it's good, and I like that, you know, it was a book of the month pick from November.
Although I will say that when they initially put it in book of the month, it was put in book of the month YA, and then people, because she mostly writes YA, so they had put it in YA, and then everyone was like, no, you cannot do that, and then it got moved to the adult section of Book of the Month Club.
I forget that Book of the Month has YA.
Yeah. So, but this is definitely an adult read, for sure.
It's I mean, I couldn't imagine trying to read this as, like, a young adult, I guess. It's just, not even, like, the heavy scenes, but just, like, the heavy writing of it. I probably would have had a hard time.
Yeah, the writing's a little dense, I think. And in a good way, I don't think it necessarily, like, detracts from the story. And then when you kind of know the characters, then it really works with who the characters are and kind of what they're doing. But I'm very curious, since this was my first Leigh Bardugo, and I know everybody some people don't really love the Gresha trilogy, but people like the Six of Crows duology, which is set in the same universe, but is, like,
I need to read it.
Separate. It's a heist.
Well, I'm gonna let you read it first.
Yeah.
And then you
That's fine.
report back.
Yeah.
I think the new one, this next one's coming out, like, next year, 2021? Or something like that.
I haven't looked anything up about it.
I think it was something like that, and people were, like, guessing on Goodreads what the title would be. And it was kind of fascinating.
I hope it's just Gentleman Demon. I'm deeply obsessed with that, and I'm like, I love Darlington so much.
I thought he was sweet.
He was sweet.
I hate that something happened to him.
You know.
I really liked Alex too. I mean, I thought she was a great, you know, I thought she was a funny, witty character that was coming from, like, such a rough place, but happened to stumble upon this. It's like, this is weird, but I'm with it. Like, I like it. I thought she was cool. What was her friend's name? The redhead that they talked about that always helped her.
Are we talking about Dawes?
I think we were talking about Dawes.
The girl who's the Oculus in the society?
Doesn't start with a P.
No. Well, her actual name might start with a P. I don't know. But because I think Dawes is, like, her
last name or something?
Or it's, like, a shortening of her name or something.
I liked her, though. At first, I was like,
cool.
This bitch. And then, like, later I was like, okay, so yeah, I like her. Hang on to her. Because, like, she was bringing her back from the dead, and, like...
Yeah.
That was funny, too. She was like, well, just don't die. And Alex was like... Okay.
I will do my best, my dude. Yeah, I liked all the society. Like, it's also weird that there effectively is, 3 people in this fucking society? Like, very, very weird. So I'm interested to see if book 2 will have more people from Leith, like current Leith, or if they're like, no, we got 3-4 people max, thanks.
Yeah.
I also think that having, like, a commentary that also has a revenge fantasy on college, like, rape is very interesting, because, like, it's happening because one of the societies has a drug that makes people kind of just be happy to do whatever you want.
Literally.
So scary.
Yeah.
So scary. And, like,
want.
when her and Darlington go to the manuscript party, which is the society that has the drugs and does all that shit, and Darlington, like, the stuff happens with Darlington because of the smoke. That party is so scary.
Yeah. They're like, just don't breathe anything in. It's like, what?
Okay. Yeah.
And then she makes the guy eat shit.
Yeah.
Literally.
Good. Fuck him. Literally. He sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, because I remember...
And now he's dead, so fuck him.
Shit. No, I really liked the magic aspect of this.
Yeah, I think the magic really worked.
Yeah.
And it's, like, complicated, but not too complicated.
Once you get into it again, like, once you get, like, past 100 pages and you understand the characters and the writing of it all, like, I'm trying to figure out, like, a way to describe the writing of it, but it's just very matter of fact, where it's, like, not doesn't spend a lot of time explaining itself. You just kind of have to like dive in and hope you figure it out, but you will, like, after, if you stick with it.
Yeah.
I do wish the snake was like blue though, like I see on some of people's covers.
Yeah,
I think
there's some different
book of the month thing, but
well, I think the original one was also just like this too.
I like it, but I do like the red and blue snakes that I see on Instagram.
Yeah, there's definitely some like nice iterations of this. I know that there was a lot of snakes on books in 2019, so this just added to that, I guess. But yeah, I like this cover. It's definitely like realizing, because like going into it, I was like, why the fuck is there a snake on this cover?
Yeah, right.
And realizing like, oh, it's because the snake is Alex. Like that's just what it is.
This does make sense now. But yeah, after a while, after seeing so many snakes on books, you're like, okay, well,
wow, so many snakes.
No, this was good. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars on my Instagram. I think it was 4 out of 5.
I think it was 4.5.
Oh, really?
I think so.
Yeah. I mean, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was cool. But then again, that also is coming from a person who doesn't typically read stuff like this, so yeah, it's just me. Yeah,
I would say this is definitely 4 out of 5, 8 out of 10 for me, because I usually rate stuff out of 10.
That's good.
I feel like it gives you more space to be nuanced.
Yeah, because I get really stuck between the 3 and the 4 sometimes.
Yeah.
So like 3 and the 4.
Yeah. So having some space.
Yeah.
I don't really like half stars, so I'm like, yeah, it's about an 8. It's about an 8. I like this. I'm definitely excited about the next one.
Yes.
I'm sure we will buddy read that one too.
Mm-hmm. Michaela felt the same as I think Michaela liked it way more than we did. My friend Michaela that read it. I mean, she really liked it. Like,
that's good. Okay, so for the second month, February, this month that we're recording this, that this video is going up, we are reading another book together. We're reading Karen Slaughter. Oh my god. I don't know why I put a Y in there, like it's fucking Mad Men.
Pretty, it's what it was. It was the little Y in Pretty. We'll go with that.
Yeah. Karen Slaughter's Pretty Girls. This is a book that I have seen also all over BookTube. It came out a while ago, a couple of years I think, but people love it or they hate it. People are like, it's either
2015.
So it's either, people are like, it's either intense torture porn, why does this exist? Or people are like obsessed.
I don't know anything about it.
And I'm like, okay. So the plot, as I understand it, it's about 2 sisters whose 3rd sister was killed when they were teenagers. And they have now gone their separate ways. And one of the sisters, they like don't really get along anymore. And one of the sisters' husbands goes missing. And they think it is related. And so it's them trying to figure out why it's related, how it's related. It's rekindling or figuring out
this is definitely up my
family relationships.
alley.
So
cool. Yeah, I'm excited.
It's supposed to be brutal, but I'm excited.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited. This is very much, I've seen this everywhere and it's very much up my alley.
I also love this cover. Yeah. Like a lot.
The blue is very nice.
The blue is nice. I like the locket.
Yeah.
It's good.
It's good. I'm with it.
So this thing that Patches and I are doing is going to be called the Backlist Book Club.
Obsessed.
Because we're reading backlist books, obviously.
Obsessed.
So yeah, join us. We're not doing live shows, but we will probably do another video like this at the beginning of March to talk about Pretty Girls. I know a lot of people have been reading this because PaperCut Book Club read it for December and did a live show at the beginning of January. So come and talk to us about it too.
Yeah.
Let's see if we have opinions and feelings.
When do you want to finish this by?
The same or different? You want to just do end of the month?
End of the month. Yeah, that works.
Because we're both doing so many readings.
So many other things.
So many readings.
Yes.
And it's exciting.
I'm excited. No, I'm really excited because this definitely seems way more up my alley than Ninth House did.
Yeah, I don't think there's any like magic or anything. It's
I'm
also
intrigued
shorter.
Because
oh, not by that much. Never mind.
You said that people either love it or hate it. And I thought it was generally loved, so I'm intrigued.
I think people.
Gillian Flynn liked it.
Yeah, well, she does write like dark, like
I've got her book.
Darky things.
I have yet to read Gone Girl.
I haven't either. I've started Sharp Objects, which I need to finish, but
oh yeah.
Yeah.
The writing is very small.
It is. Which is also when I was like, oh, it's not as long as Ninth House, which first of all, it almost is. And also the text is much smaller.
Text is so tiny.
So small. So
she's written a lot of books though.
I think she has. I think if I remember correctly, this is one of the more beloved, I think. But I think if people like her books, they generally tend to like all of them.
Now I'm excited.
Yeah.
Along with the 12 other books I have to read in February.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about